I think the question on exit versus sustainability is just fantastic. I don't know what state of the art is. I don't know what everyone's chosen. But what I listened to today were two methods that work in today's system and address both topics. And one is Jeff's company and one's mine. I didn't talk about it as much, so let me talk about mine first. And that is that if you take on an investor, like we develop materials from scratch in polymers, metals, and ceramics, build these technologies up and then get them operational. During that time, there might be time where you need capital to do the development because you're pre-revenue. If you take on an investor, whether it's an angel capital, whether it's your Uncle Bill, whether it's a venture capital, an institutional, you will need an exit strategy because they will expect this. Just like Jeff talked about, they owe it. You owe it to them to be mindful and focused on getting them a return. However, just like he talked about a perpetual incubator, right? That he spun off 4 or 5, Jeff, operational companies? 4. Yeah. So we've spun out 3. What I didn't talk about today is Stanton Advanced Materials, Inc. was founded in 1993. It's my core company. It's owned 100% by my family and I. Out of that, we have spun 3 companies out of Stanton Advanced Materials, which has 6 other technologies which are too market forward to even bring out. So the perpetual plan is to continue to spin off and then create operational entities out of the core of this. I've heard it called an incubator company, I've heard it called a foundry company, I've heard it called an evergreen technology incubator. I've heard all of these. So that to me is the middle ground between the 2 necessities, the idea generation and the need for capital, and the need then, once you accept that capital, to satisfy their requirement, which is return on investment in a timely manner. 30% a year. So if you take that money, you have automatically prescribed to that exit, period. And if you don't, it'll end ugly. Because I've heard it called the uncomfortable marriage between ideas and money. And my point is, once you take that money, you make the best out of that marriage. So I think there is middle ground, and I think today you also heard one example distinctly, and I'm now filling you in on the rest of Stanton Advanced Ceramics, which also is an operational company that's spun out of a perpetual 100% family-owned entity. That's it.
Truly the best of 2 worlds.
Follow-up questions?
Please.
You were talking about growing an idea, but how much of that idea should be an actual product, not just, a harebrained thing, something that you're actually thinking of, down to zeros and ones and like having a rough plan for and so forth before you start going to people and going, oh, I'm thinking about this, even to your uncle, let's say.
You're going to you need to start have this golden idea that we were talking about. I didn't really dwell on it, but it really needs to be practical enough that if it's a product, you can manufacture it at a cost that will enable you to sell it for a price that people are willing to pay, and will have a sustainable competitive advantage. I mean, that's the whole point of it. Otherwise, it's just a neat gizmo that works, but if there's a place in the market for it, or you think there is, and if you're going to go after money, or even if you're just going to invest your life, sweat, and tears into doing this, you really want to have answers to that. In the early 1990s, the M&A business was really pretty sad. And fortunately, a friend of mine who was a classmate from Case was head of research and development at one of the major energy companies, and he wanted to, they were looking at funding certain technologies that would be of benefit to their company. So he wanted us to look at whether this inventor had an idea that could be really turned into a business and be competitive. And there are a lot of, and it goes back to the manufacturability, the costs, all the practical kinds of questions that get granular when you're at that stage. And the more, the earlier you can bring somebody in or have the expertise brought in to deal with those issues as your design evolves, the better off you are. Same thing with designing a service.